Hey, good morning, everyone. We are here for this morning's devotional, and I just want to set the record straight. There's some comments that are flying around Facebook from a post that I put out that I slept in a tent in the backyard by myself. Now, here's the thing. We could say I was a Cub Scout and I miss sleeping outside. That is true. I did set up the tent in the backyard just to air it out and get it clean because I thought we'd have a thunderstorm, but anyways, so there's no marital issues. I just was like, I wanted to go and sleep in the tent. So that's just what it is. Today we're going to be looking at our 11th station today. And this is Jesus promises his kingdom to the good thief. Let's look at the text this morning. It's going to be Luke 23, 32 to 43. Two others also, who were criminals, were led away to be put to death with him. When they came to the place that is called the Skull, they crucified Jesus there with the criminals, one on his right and one on his left. Then Jesus said, "Father, forgive them, for they do not know what they are doing." And they cast lots to divide his clothing, scoffed at him, saying, "He saved others. Let him save himself if he is the Messiah of God, his chosen one." The soldiers also mocked him, coming up and offering him sour wine and saying, "If you are the king of the Jews, save yourself." There was also an inscription above him saying, "This is the King of the Jews." One of the criminals who were hanging there kept deriding him and saying, "Are you not the Messiah? Save yourself and us." But the other rebuked him, saying, "Do you not fear God, since you are under the same sentence of condemnation? And we indeed have been condemned justly, for we are getting what we deserve for our deeds. But this man has done nothing wrong." Then he said, "Jesus, remember me when you come into your kingdom." He replied, "Truly I tell you, today you will be with me in paradise." Gary Jansen continues to unpack this, and he talks about Jesus' response and that he forgives. Torn flesh from flogging, thorns piercing skin, nails driven through hands and feet, exposure to the sun, bodies hanging like rotting meat. In the midst of all this physical and psychological pain, how does Jesus react? The temptation to curse everyone around him, to give his pain away by threatening the soldiers or shaming the followers who'd abandoned him, must have been real. It would have been easy to condemn, to judge. Instead, Jesus offers mercy. "Father, forgive them, for they do not know what they are doing." See, Jesus' resurrection is the supernatural event that changes the world, changes history. Things are never the same after Jesus rises to new life. Although God forgives throughout the Bible, to see Jesus offer forgiveness after all the trials and the tribulations that he's been through in a moment that destroys the old covenant idea of an eye for an eye, this act of forgiveness, this act of compassion during a time of ultimate struggle sets in motion the new standard for what is meant to be a true human being. No longer are we flawed creations who live to seek revenge on those who wrong us. No, Jesus' actions say that there is a new ideal, one grounded in love and nonviolence. But even after Jesus' sacrifice, and even after his resurrection, sin, pain, despair, and confusion remain in the world. Why? Shouldn't they have been eradicated with these acts of Jesus? As Thomas Merton once wrote, he said, God has left sin in the world in order that there might be forgiveness. Not only the secret forgiveness by which he himself cleanses our souls, but the manifest forgiveness by which we have mercy on one another. And to show expression to the fact that he is living by his mercy in our own hearts. Maybe this is why so many of us feel overwhelmed emotionally when we encounter Jesus on the cross. That stirring, that longing in our souls, that is God's mercy and forgiveness beating inside us. There's an old song that I remember hearing, they will know us because of our love. They'll know that we are Christians because of our love, our actions. I remember another bumper sticker once I saw on the back of an old truck. It said, Christians aren't perfect, we're forgiven. And I think that really got me to my core, is that, this Thomas Merton quote is important. Though we know, that we are forgiven and set free, but the world needs to see how we display that, how that comes out of our own lives. I remember someone saying, if you talk the talk, but then you need to walk that walk. And I think that's the touch point for us. Does this world that is still struggling with pain and despair and depression, hardship, wrath and vengeance and greed and all these things, they're putting you and myself under the microscope, and they're going, how do you do it? I'm glad that you're content. I'm glad that you're happy. But what are you doing with your neighbor? How are you forgiving your family members? How are you forgiving the person that has cut you off in traffic or shortchanged you or stabbed you in the back in relationship? That's where the true rubber hits the road. That's the true traction of the gospel. It's not like how you can praise when it's easy, but can you praise when it's hard? And Jesus is the perfect example again, that he's hanging on the cross, mockery all around him. Even the guy right beside him is saying, look, save yourself and me. Even greed to the point of death, going, hey, you know what? If you got a rescue plan, don't forget me. Or the other thief is saying, look, I know what I'm getting is what I'm getting because of the stuff that I've done. If you can remember, he loved that. I love that. Remember me if you can, Jesus. If I could even get in at this point. And even Jesus turns all the tide, spiritually, theologically, biblically, everything changes right there and then. And he says, today you will be with me in paradise. Even for people that are being in the church long, I remember people saying that. It's like, well, how come that guy gets to go to heaven? After minutes of meeting with Jesus, and I've been faithfully serving. Because it's not about you. It's about forgiveness. It's about the condition of one's heart. It's about not only living it out, but it's what's in the heart. That's what I struggle with. I struggled with it when I first became a Christian. I remember being in a church and I saw all these people kind of not focusing on the pastor. I felt for the pastor. He had created this amazing sermon and he's preaching, and we had these TVs that people can see, and I was sitting with the young adults, and all they were doing is, this is before smartphones, but they were passing notes and talking about hey, where do you want to go have dinner and where do you want to have lunch? I remember one guy, they would come in late and fall asleep. And here I am, I was praising Jesus and stuff, and then I went to YWAM, and then I remember being with my YWAM, and I went to my director. I said, I really wrestle with, here I am, I'm praising Jesus and I'm excited for Jesus, but then these people just are it looks like they're just phoning it in. They're just kind of riding the pine. It's just sitting, waiting for heaven. And he says, I got no answers. Ask Jesus. So I did. I asked Jesus, I said, what is it about him? And Jesus said, that's the condition of their heart. You know, when you're faithful with little, you'll be faithful with much. He says, John, I'm gonna use you. Continue to strive after me. Keep seeking after me. Keep pursuing me. And I can use you. Those people, they are like thieves on the cross. They're just gonna come into heaven. They did it. Good job. But the life, like in John 10:10, you know, the thief comes to steal, kill, and destroy. But Jesus says, I have come to give you life to the fullest. That's what I want for you. That's what I want for me. Is that Jesus' life and life to the fullest. And I think the bedrock of that is forgiveness. Forgiveness from God. Forgiveness for one another. I pray for you today. God bless you. Have a great day today. I'll see you tonight at 8 o'clock as we continue on in our series. Bless you. Have a good morning.